Manage is not easy, and it's not supposed to be, but it's one of the most powerful films I've seen this year. Sometimes cinema is not about escaping reality at all. Instead, it's about facing it head-on, about looking at the darkest corners of humanity, where silence has lived for generations, and asking ourselves, what do we do with this knowledge? That's the kind of experience that Manas delivers. And if you let it, it's a film that can change the way that you see not just Amazons, not just Brazil, but the injustices and silences that may live much closer than you think. I don't want this video to just be a review. I don't even want to explain too much of what happens in the plot, because Manas is a film that you need to experience. Manas, directed by Mariana Bernard, takes us deep into the Amazons, following Telly, a 13-year-old girl who dreams of escaping her oppressive reality after her older sister leaves. What begins as a seemingly simple portrait of a daily life in a riverside community slowly reveals itself to be a horrific depiction of generational cycles of abuse, silence, and the strength that it takes to resist it. Without ever sensationalizing violence, the film gives voice to those who have been silenced, while reminding us of the power of resilience, solidarity, and hope. Movies like Manas are not meant to be easy. They are not meant to be fun. They are not meant for escapism. And that's the point. The question is, what do we, as viewers, do with films like this? What I feel that the danger is with stories about oppression, abuse, slavery, or genocide is that we can fall into pity. Poor kids in the Amazons, poor women in these communities, as if it's something far away and detached from us. But the truth is, injustice is never just somewhere else. If we open our eyes, we can often find echoes of the same patterns in our own communities. Discriminations, cycles of silence, unspoken abuse. They may not look exactly the same, but they exist around us. So, the first exercise that I would like to watch everyone watching a film like Manas is don't distance yourself. Don't watch from the safe seat of pity. Instead, ask, where is this happening near me? Who around me is silenced? What cycles do I ignore in my own community, even if they are not related to the topic that is being presented to you? It's very easy to feel powerless. I cannot go to the Amazons and rescue all the children. I cannot help every cause that I see on screen. None of us can. We all have our own lives and limitations. But what we can do is hold onto the reminder that kindness, empathy, and awareness matter. Even in Manas, bleak as it is, there are glimpses of kindness. A policewoman that tries to do the right thing, small gestures of solidarity from other members of the community, moments of resistance. And those moments remind us of what we can bring back into our own world. After seeing such cruelty on screen, the choice is not just to despair. The choice is, how do I do good where I am? In my workplace, in my neighborhood, in my friendships, in my family. Even if I cannot change the Amazon, I can choose to break the silence, to listen, to create safer spaces, to notice abuses of power around me. That's what films like Manas offer us. It's not just a story, but an invitation to live differently. While watching the first 30 minutes, I kept asking myself, why isn't this a documentary? The film does spend quite a few time on just showing us the day-to-day life of these characters. And I think that a documentary would teach us more about culture and about the context of these people that live in the Amazons better than maybe this movie. But then it became clear. A documentary can tell us about the abuse, but it cannot put us inside it the same way that fiction can. It cannot show certain moments without crossing ethical lines. It cannot make us feel the tension of being in that room, in that family, in that suffocating environment. Fiction creates a safe space for us to face the unbearable. Safe not only for the audience, but for the actors as well, especially the child actors. Because as disturbing as Manas is, the director makes careful choices. We never actually see the sexual violence. It's implied through sound, through closed doors, through fragments. And that's enough. It's already horrific showing what it shows, but this way it protects the children on set. That's why this story had to be fiction. Only through fictional characters could the audience feel the horror while the actors themselves were shielded. And this is a unique power of cinema, to show us what we need to see without anyone actually being harmed in the process. Now, going specifically about technical aspects of the film. The acting. the performances are astonishing, especially from the young actress playing TL. This is easily one of the most powerful performances I've seen all year. You forget that you are watching actors. They feel like real people. The direction and the script, both are super strong. The subtle escalation from what is a slow movie and just showing the ordinary life of these characters to that slowness becoming a suffocating tension is done super well. What at first feels slow, almost too slow, transforms into nerve-wracking suspense once the truth of the story emerges, once the topic at hand actually reveals itself. The location and also the setting of the film, like the Amazons, isn't just like a pretty backdrop. I don't think you could choose a better place to illustrate what this movie wants to tell you. The Amazons in here serves as it's a prison. On one side, you have an endless forest, and on the other side, an immense body of water. There is literally nowhere to run, because a lot of these movies, sometimes when you see the victims in these movies, I feel like people question why don't they just leave from this abuse? They could just run from this abuse. But in this movie, the setting itself becomes a prison where you actually understand that it's hard for these characters to leave this situation. There is literally nowhere to run. The geography itself becomes the metaphor for the prison that they live in. Like I said before, the handling of the violence, the choice to imply rather than show is crucial. The sound design in particular becomes a very strong storytelling tool in this movie, forcing us to imagine what happens behind closed doors, which is often worse than seeing it, but safer for the ones actually doing it and for the actors. What I would maybe point out as the only drawback of the movie is the first half an hour. I think it may test your patience a little bit. For some viewers, it might feel too slow, too uneventful, but if you stay with it, that slowness transforms into dread. And it's on purpose, and it pays off later on the movie. At the end of the day, I don't want this video to just be a review. That's why I don't want to go too much in depth about scenarios that specifically happen in the movie, because I do think Manas is a film that you need to experience. Instead, I want to invite you to see it, to sit with discomfort, and then to carry something back into your life. Don't stop at just feeling pity. Don't just stop at feeling powerless. Let it push you towards awareness, kindness, and responsibility in your own circles. Because sometimes the most radical thing a film can do is reminding us that silence, it's everywhere, and that breaking it begins not over there, but here. Manas is not easy, and it's not supposed to be, but it's one of the most powerful films I've seen this year. If you can, watch it with others. Let it spark conversations. You never know who around you might need that safe space to speak, or who might be carrying unspoken stories. That's the gift of cinema like this. It's not just about seeing, it's about responding.